Hello, this is Rich with the Rich Education Service Center, and I want to now go over Scratch for Arduino. You remember in the very first lesson, a little introductory piece, we mentioned the Arduino and the hardware, and that we were going to be programming it with Scratch for Arduino. Well, Scratch for Arduino looks a little bit different than the regular Scratch. This is it. You see up here it says based on Scratch, and you see this little icon SA, Scratch for Arduino. And some of the very first things you notice that are different is that you have in the motion blocks these things called pins. Well, remember when we were looking at this Arduino, see how we have pins? See where it says over here you have your digital pins 0 through 13. And you also have your power pins, so we'll need power. We got a 3 volt, a 5 volt, and then you have grounds here too, and you have a ground over here. But now if we go back and look, you'll notice these pins. So if I was going to do something with pin 13, say I wanted to turn pin 13 on, if we were doing an LED light, and let's say we wanted to wait for a second, turn it on, wait for a second, and then turn it off. Just when I click the green flag. Now if I go over here and look at my board, now see that pin 13, I would have my little LED in pin 13, and then my other one in ground. And that basically would turn my LED light on, and it would wait for a second, and then it would turn it off. So you'll notice you see these here too, the analog. For the other side, you have your little motor pins, so motor 4 and 7. Now the difference between this motor pin, that's for like a full rotation little motor that's going to go all the way around. And this would be for like our little servo that's only going to go 180 degrees one way and then 180 degrees the other way. So, and I'll get more into that when we get into the very end of our lessons. But that's kind of the difference why this says motor pin 4 and 7, which we'll look here, we see 4 and 7. And when we go back to our 180 degree motors, little servo motor, we see 8 and 12. So that's kind of a slight difference. There's 8 and there's 12. So why you're going to see those differences there. And then of course we have our stop and our start and our show and hide board. And then we got all of our other typical motion blocks. You can actually create games and everything else in this just like you would the regular Scratch, but the difference of you can interact with this hardware, this Arduino hardware, through these blocks. And so that is Scratch for Arduino now. There's a link below where you're going to get Scratch for Arduino and how we're going to enable our Arduino board to communicate with Scratch for Arduino. So we'll go through that the next lesson. Getting Scratch for Arduino and getting it loaded up and going.